We're live.
You did.
I got in, yeah.
You did.
I don't know. Hi, Chris. If you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. Mark's over there. And this is Smokey, Steve, and Marc. Welcome back. I have no idea why the time is set differently. I have no idea. I couldn't schedule it any other time. And it kicked back the first two that I did. So.
Well, it looks like there's people in there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Here we go.
Okay.
There's Mr. McPhoebe, Marlene.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, so we're good.
Thing is, though, Christine, I didn't pick a date. I just said, let's go. When I was trying to, hey, coffee beans, yo, latte, Dom, the McPhoebes, another rainy Sunday. As I was saying in the community post, we have weather predicted. So we'll see. Calendar page. Hello, Wendy, tuxedo, belly bulldog. I like that. Dom. Mark's doing okay, Dom. He's still moving slow. He's still moving slow.
There, you know.
He's doing everything he wants to do, but at like a third of the pace. So West Garden time, right?
Yeah.
At my insistence.
Yeah.
And that, but Mark's still kicking. We're still in the works with insurance and all that fun stuff. So at the moment, we be huffing it.
I'm going out in the garden. No, I'm kidding.
Of course you are. Just to spite me. Windy and gray where you are? Yeah, it's...
Yeah, we're getting bad.
It's getting... It goes really pitch black to light, but now we're getting shorter days, too. So it's starting to get a little dark around, like, 7 instead of, like, 9. So... Texas voodoo you caught alive. Slow and steady wins the race. They say that, don't they? They say that to slow people. Slow and steady wins the race. You know. Annie, hello. So, we are here. Waiting on storms, they'll be here. We are here to catch up with our fair lady Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, The Chantal Show, Everyday Miriam. So those are all her names, and we're gonna check in with her. Last week we either didn't check in or something happened last week. I think I was distracted. I wasn't feeling great, and I kept losing my place. I can't promise that won't happen tonight, but we're gonna do our best, rain or shine. Okay? She's got people mad. Well, she puts herself out there in a lot of ways to make people mad, and it's always right before payday. Stage another kitty rescue. Don't you wish, Christine? Like, seriously. Don't you? I mean, I would... The things I would say if it wasn't getting demonetized. So, that's in the review that we're doing this week. So we'll start. There was time in the pool spent this week, and then there was lying about why we were in the pool this week. Fast food. She had a fast food, not going to go through with it, and she failed at it the next day, and decided it was too much. We'll just try again. There's always tomorrow to try again. Yeah, this does take the cake. Just when you think, like, I don't know. She's got her fast food. The cats, of course, which is the thing that's most infuriating to me. The cats that are outside that she's feeding, and Julia, who's inside. And while they're planning to go away, a very needy cat, we'll say needy, they don't make noise for fun, usually, is in the apartment. And Julia's in heat. And guess what? She hasn't been spayed or vaccinated. None of it. Last year, when she got the cat a shot, she said, I don't have to do it for a whole year. And so she had a whole year to get her fixed. And didn't. And now it's a scramble. Oh, I gotta get her a shot again. The doctor said, but why is it so hard? What's the point? Abusing animals does not hurt your audience. It hurts your reputation, as bad as it already was. Because even in jail, if you fuck with animals or you fuck with kids, you're gonna get it. So, and sometimes those rules apply to people outside of prison, just saying. It'd be different if she wasn't spending thousands on food. She shouldn't just be eating just to piss off the haters. Yeah, Christine, I very much agree with that. So, fast food, cats. Trying to put in context what? Coming in and out? Hold on. Anybody else having audio issues before I touch anything and ruin it? It took me like 20 minutes just to get it into the space where we can talk. So... Yeah, Sarah, Mark's good. Thanks. Didn't she say on live stream Julia was fixed? Loud and clear. So I want to explore being in Kuwait and what that means for her, what she's done since she's been there, and then how is that changed or how is that playing out now? Because everyone in Kuwait stays indoors 10 months out of the year, I guess. Homemade food being less fat. A fast food challenge that lasted a day. There's a Dubai and memberships for her. A lot of them. She had a mukbang, and the mukbangs of homemade food are supposed to be better than the fast food. I don't really know. And views are down, dear heart. Views are down. So, yeah, Mark's doing good. So, I think I'm going to want to start talking the thing that I don't know. The thing that bothered me the most was, well, it's shit with the cats, pretty much. So, thanks. I survived Girl World. All I got was this t-shirt. This is more than you would get for covering Girl World. More, actually. So I'll start with the cats. I'm pissed off about cat stuff. Of all the things she did this week, and there were plenty of bullshit things. Animals are vulnerable. They're defenseless. And if you introduce yourself into their life, they'll start to depend on you a little bit, especially cats. So she has zero problem using living animals as pets. And then it's content. Pets for content. So we had Julia, who is a cat. Sweet. Julia's going to be going for another shot again instead of getting spayed or neutered. And Chantal's also feeding the cats in the lobby, or Solace feeding the cats in the lobby. Now, there's 1,000 reasons this is wrong, but animals, babies, the elderly, the disabled, these are no-no. You're not going to win favor from anybody in any circle if that is something you're going to do and be so relaxed about. Like, not even care. The cat thing I'm so angry about. Yeah. Imagine relying on Foodie Beauty. God love her. God love her. In a cruel comment I made a few months ago, her being infertile is proof of God. I had said. Basically to the point where she's too selfish for kids. And she's too vain to be pregnant. Prettier than 90% of us. You know, she didn't want to lose that. So. The thing is, though, with the cats, she knows it looks bad. She knows it looks bad. She's just digging in to try to amp people up. Because the more she hurts herself and other stuff, that, like, gets back at the haters. That's like she's drinking poison thinking we're the ones that are going to die. No, doesn't work that way. And you can't fight physiology. She says she's an anomaly. I would agree, but not for the same reasons that she says. Just saying. But the cats in the building, there was more than the 3 of them. Solace feeding them. What kind of entitled asshole feeds feral cats? Create a dependence on them, and then ditch them to go play Carmen Sandiego and travel around the world, and we'll find out where next. The thing is, though, like, I have cats. I have a couple cats. I love them. They're not here. I'm going to have my comfort animal. I love them both, and I've never had a pet. Now, she had hers for 20 years. I'm really bonded, but Bandit doesn't like me. Bandit's our older cat. He's the bigger cat. Doesn't particularly like me. If I go to pet him too long, he'll snap. He's Mark's cat. He'll climb up into Mark's lap, crawl all over him. Granted, it looks like Bandit's about 30 pounds with all the Maine Coon fur. And just spends time with them. And Mark makes it a point to have sit-down time with him at least once or twice a day. You know, in the morning, just to make them feel comfortable and have a routine with them. Cats will follow the routine. When I get up in the morning and open the bathroom door, I look at 2 heads when I'm coming out, because it's breakfast time. So, she couldn't afford to get Julia fixed, but she's flying. It's so stupid. The idea that you would hurt something else to try to hurt other people is ridiculous. And the thing you're choosing to do it with. You're not showing everybody by losing weight. You're not showing everybody by being independent. You're not showing everybody by walking outdoors. It doesn't show anything at all. So, I don't know. I can relate slightly. You guys know Oscar? He's the cute one. He's not in here right now. Oscar was a feral cat, as far as, you know, he had his ear clipped, so he had been trapped and taken care of and released. And then he hung out in the garden at our 2 places ago, before the one that was condemned, and just hang out with Mark. And he was never more than 15 feet away from him in the garden all summer. And then Oscar stayed for the fall. And then he was staying into the winter, and we had a cat house made for him on the porch that was as comfortable as we could make it. He actually really seemed to like it. And then when we moved, we felt responsible to take him with us. Now, one, we wanted to, of course, but also we've weakened his natural instincts. He now depends on us for food and shelter and socialization and that kind of stuff. So what, you know, how are we going to disable him essentially from helping himself? There's like a created independence, and instead we recently started feeding a tomcat in the neighborhood beyond your yeah, we only have 2 or 3 strays in the neighborhood here, which is good. Oscar claimed Mark long before you realized it. I know, but I claimed him back. Thing is though, Oscar's like everybody's cat. It's like no big deal. And bringing him with us, like I said, was not just a one-off. We didn't pick up a stray, feed it, and leave. It was a multi-year relationship. And then when we did move, we took him with us because we can't... It's wrong, especially to take away some of their instincts and then decide, I don't need you anymore. When leaving to go abroad, for wherever she's going, for why ever she's going, she'll just have somebody come over once in a while. And check and probably flip that and see if there's still a hamster alive. We're probably on our 3rd hamster, I would guess. Just saying. So, I don't know. But yeah, the cat thing bothers me most. I'm a new cat person. Like I said, I haven't had Bandit forever, but we got him at a shelter too. What does it do for her? What really makes it for her that if she treats an animal with neglect or her health with neglect, she thinks that bothers people? Maybe she held her own family hostage with this kind of bullshit. But Chantal is not going to get the long end of the stick or sympathy. Long stick. Hey, Sala. Not going to be able to do any of that. She has no credibility and she's not going to be trusted. So even if she said she was going to get the cat spayed, she wouldn't. Or she'd think of a reason not to. Or there was a 2-for-1 at Taco Bell that day. And so she wasn't able to go out. Short end of the stick. That's for Chantal. That's terrible. No, it's not. These are obnoxious, smug people. Anything that happens that embarrasses them tickles me, honestly. I don't feel compelled to make efforts to interfere in their lives because as much as I'm ick on Chantal, I don't hate her and she's still a human being, I suppose. And she doesn't make videos when she says she wants privacy. But anytime we see a bunch of recorded videos with a I might not be filming tomorrow or going live, it makes me think she's maybe not home or prepping her way out. So we'll see where the next one is. People had toyed with her going to Malaysia, going back to Thailand. There's a couple other places. She wants to go somewhere cold, probably. But you had the kittens at the scrapyard, you can rescued a few and the rest were caught and fixed. Exactly, there's ways to deal with it. I mean, it's unfortunate because if a place has a feral cat problem and you look outside and there's like 8 or 9 cats just hanging out, my heart bleeds because I have pet cats. But otherwise, I don't know, Morocco'd be nice for someone who can get off the couch. But there's really no big difference where she goes. When she lived in Canada, she sat around and ate. When she went to Kuwait, she sat around and ate. She went to Thailand, she sat around and ate. She went out about 3 or 4 times, and 2 out of the 4, people were pointing, filming, and laughing. I guess they're jealous too? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe so. We'll see. So yeah, the cat thing is the worst. It really makes her like a scumbag of a human being to do that kind of thing. And then Sala feeding the cats. He's not consistent with feeding them. He's probably not consistent with Julia because he's probably not there. I think she thinks if she leaves 3 months worth of food, both animals will be fine. They'll just portion it out like she does over a month. I don't think so. They need more attention than they can't do for themselves. And if you lock them in a room when they're in heat, and they're in heat because they weren't fixed, and they weren't fixed because in an entire fucking year, she couldn't be bothered to make a 20-minute appointment because it wasn't about her. It was about her pet. And she got off on the fact that hurting her pet upset people. Loser. Loser, loser. Now, fast food, of course, we've had fast food in the mix. Now, she did have a fast food. She was going to not do it for a while. I'm sure it reeks of hot cat urine. I think everything in their little region probably does. With that many cats around, how could you not? You know, and we have a few here and there, and our local shelters are like, please, for the love of God, get your animals fixed. One cat can make two, can make a million very quickly. So, you know, just take care of it. Julie doesn't interact with other animals, which is whatever, except the hamster. But if she's going to be left alone for as much as like an hour, get the fucking matted stuff cut off. She's in pain. Imagine me pulling on your hair all day, and every time you turned, it pulled harder. And imagine if my response was, honey, if I get that fixed, people will think I'm weak. No, I have to stand strong. You're gonna look like a fucking Afghan now. All tied up in gray with the furry everything. I mean, we have a long hair cat. I know they get matted, but that's why we brush him. And if he was that matted for some reason, we would take him to the vet and get it taken care of. But outside of being on the channel, they're just extras. They have no lines and they're not meant to be the big part of the show. She's the big part of the show. She wishes she had hair she could pull. Well, apparently now it's long and more luscious than any of the haters' hair. We've seen pictures of Chantal. Generally, people don't gain hair as they get older. It falls out. And that's just a thing. That's just a part of life. You know, hair falls out. Chantal described Julia going into heat as part of life, part of it for her, and that if you want to be mad at anyone, be mad at God, because this is just what happens to cats. It's a natural process. For ignored cats, it's a natural process. You're telling me you take that same cat and put it in a house where people actually love and care about it, that it's going to be in the same cranky-ass position? No. She dragged her feet for a year because it was inconvenient or too hot or whatever. So, whatever. Whatever. So, everybody in Kuwait, ... Everybody in Kuwait, ... So, trying to measure Chantal's day-to-day habits versus what might be day-to-day in Kuwait, I'm not sure. And I can appreciate that there's a level of naivety among some of us who either haven't independently researched Kuwait or haven't been there for any of that kind of stuff. So we get our information about the culture from her. So if you only went through that small, narrow lens of what she considers to be everybody in Kuwait. Everybody stays home all day. Everyone only sleeps 5 hours at a time. Everyone eats fast food places, preferably alone. She can pass off a few things as local custom that a foreigner might miss. I'll call me a foreigner. There's plenty of stuff I'm sure I'm missing that's not in sync with the culture. I think if you're going to tell everyone on YouTube to fuck off, you should at least be nice to your real live neighbors. I mean, is it just everyone hates me? In person, online, over the phone, via letter? And never ask why. The big question that could save her life is, maybe it's me? Maybe it's me. And then you can start to do something. Everything doesn't seem as out of control when you start to take a little bit of control. There's some stuff that's out of everybody's hands, of course, but try to do as much as you can. And try to use people as little as possible. I really thought Salah was going for her and going for Canada. And now it does seem like she used him to get out of it and go to Kuwait. And the fact that she's still hopping on a tourist visa is curious. Yeah. You can smell her through the envelope. Probably. So, everybody in Kuwait, they don't make decent food. Nobody makes fancy food ever. No one makes good-looking food ever. That's why everyone there orders takeout, because Kuwaiti food is disgusting, apparently. Nobody goes to the vet in Kuwait. Nobody. You just don't know the culture here. Nobody takes care of their animals well. Okay? Hey, Jay, how are you? Always good to see ya. So, yeah, being naive and out of the culture, there's a few things she could probably slip past me. As much as I'm interested in keeping up with Chantal's stuff for the point of commentary and watching other people, I don't want to dedicate that much more of my life to her. This is more about just chatting with friends, making a few points, finding out some stuff I didn't know. Like, that's kind of the gist of it. So, what else don't they do in Kuwait? It's just the filters that make her look matted and unhappy. So it's possible, I thought, maybe for the filters Chantal uses to slim herself out, so she looks like Gumby, maybe are messing with the way Julia's fur looks, and it's just blurry. It's not matted. You don't know what goes on behind camera. and you do not know who you're dealing with. I'm a Christian and her throwing God around about neglected cat. That's, yeah, ridiculous. It's God's fault. God's fault that cats go into heat. It's the owner's fault. It's the owner's fault because you're responsible for their care, dumbass. Who else is going to do it? Who else is responsible for the health and welfare of Chantal's cat? But Chantal. And so if it's not taken care of, whose attention do you bring it to? Chantal. Chantal fires back with veterinary information that is ludicrous and tries to defend it by saying that's out of her hands. She can't do anything about that. Not even in a year, she couldn't come up with a little bit of a plan. Seal all that. Yeah, everyone in Kuwait does. Now, I know people do lay down, like, as for socializing and stuff. Like, I remember they were going camping, but she lays like that. It's probably very comfortable for her because it takes all the weight of her stomach off, most of it off her back, and she can just lean it onto the couch. I bet one of her arms falls asleep off and on, though, because I can't do it without one of them falling off, like falling asleep. They don't take plastic off vehicle seats? No, they don't. She has a book of knowledge when it comes to Kuwait. Totally, totally. When you want to find all the good underground scene, the best local eats, the best place to have a picnic, nah, we're just going to sit in bed and eat and act like it's someone else's fault that I can't do what I want to do with my life. She does say she wants to travel, and that's been the goal for years, before she even left. Before she even left Canada, a couple of years before that was to travel. I didn't think tax evasion and whatnot was going to be the thing that pushed her to get the hell out of Canada, or how she's managing her money. If they were going to just take it directly from her, or since maybe she put it in Zawa's name so they can't get it. There's always the whiff of a lie. There's always the whiff of a lie about the dumbest things too. Chantal, what'd you have for dinner? Oh, I had tomatoes and a serving of rice and a peach and a tomato juice. Really? Are you sure? That's all I've had for 10 days. Are you sure? Because you look not different at all. Not even a little. And from the pictures that came back from when she was still early on in her adventures, she was huge. She says she's lost weight. She says she's at 330. And that's why she's going to start going hard and deep right now. So, I don't know. She thinks she'll start a diet, like the one day fast food thing. She just didn't eat it for a day. She probably just slept through the entire day and was like, hey, I didn't have fast food today. Well, you also didn't have meth or coke or nicotine or any of that stuff. You haven't had all the other things. And I guess while I tell you about it, I'll remind you how much I don't need an audience. And you guys can go to hell. I can't stand. I was a pretty unapologetic, unrepentant smoker. But blowing smoke in people's face, blowing it at the camera is tantamount to blowing it in their face. Personal opinion as someone who breathes smoke at people. Now I breathe vape. But, either way. But when she's hitting the and blows it at the screen, you just want to reach through the screen and just, poking you, I'm poking you. I like you this much. Right in the eyes. I think people get frustrated. I don't know too many people who get, physically frustrated, like they want to hurt her. They just want to see karma happen faster. And the projection for a lot of folks is that all of her snottiness and greed and rudeness and selfishness will come back to her, hopefully when there's still a channel up, so that we can see that this is how the world works. I have this idea in my head of how this is right, this is wrong, and this is how people should behave and not behave. Those are my opinions, mind you. I'm not a religious person at all. I just try to, be nice to people. Golden rule. Don't lie for no reason. If she is losing weight, she should be very worried. She got up on the couch today live and had a really hard time doing it. And yet a couple days ago, with her sciatica, hopping all over the couch. She's only as injured as she needs to be at a time. She's still going to go back and tap into that, I hurt my back when the camel bumped into me or something. She's always got excuses on deck. And I think she thinks that medical excuses are more legitimate than anything else. So, after X had a nice pick of, unsubbing. See, if she's losing subs now, she's losing her supporters. She's not all of a sudden, it's not like all of a sudden now I'm like, oh, that's too much, I'm going to unsubscribe. I haven't been subscribed to her for years. Years. I sent her a super chat when she first started gaslighting being abuse, and I had to join, so it was another $5. So I went 10 deep until I realized that it was all a manipulation. And I fell for it because I'm a nice guy. I'm, I guess, too naive to think that someone would actually make something up like that. And even if they didn't make it up, make profit out of it. And then tell a chat section they have no room to chat. No one will be bored. That cat's in crazy heat. Make all the hats crazy. Good. She said it was just loud in there. She's just going to give the cat away. If they're leaving now, she's going to give it to somebody, and then when they come back, say, keep it. You guys don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I did not put her in the trash, okay? I did not just put her back outside like feral cats. And then we see 4 to 6 feral cats running around on the inside looking of the building where they're living. I don't know about all that. It's too much. Like, we wouldn't have cats indoors. I've never lived anywhere. When I lived in Philly, the building I lived in, I was a studio on the 3rd floor of a brownstone. And we had mice from the neighbors and from us, because all these places like share a basement, it seems like, essentially. And it's easier for those things to kind of just move around. But it wasn't, celebrated. We didn't want to keep them there. We wanted to clean the place out and have it be safe. Chantal knows about that as well. Remember, she had roaches? And then her and BB had to rip apart the whole apartment and pull everything out from the walls. Roaches are often a sign of an unclean home. Or your neighbor has an unclean home and they're finding their way over. So, no one will be bored of cats. Missed that, but I'm not surprised. Nothing is surprising. So, to reiterate, nobody in Kuwait does fuck all except sit on their couch and eat. And maybe they look out the window or go outside a few times during the winter months, and that's it. I can't imagine being so satisfied with so little. Dream big. Traveling is a big dream, but I'm going to tell you, traveling at 400 pounds versus traveling at like 200 is probably going to make a difference. You probably won't need an escort. You can find a man there. Rather than have someone carry your bags and cosplay husband while you cosplay Muslim. Howie is long gone. This isn't the same one. No, it's not. But that's the thing. When they died, she replaced it. There was no, the hamster died, because she knew she'd be blamed. And she should have been. If you can't be around for your pets, give them away or don't get them to begin with. That's it. And making fun of the most vulnerable, and Chantal has a thing with vulnerable. Let's talk about older people. Let's talk about other people of size, because anyone who's exactly Chantal's size can't criticize her life. No, they can't criticize her diet. They can still criticize her life. And the whole point of a comment section is to post comments. And when there's 1,000 views on a video and 3 comments, you wonder if someone's dipping in there maybe to take a few of the unflattering ones out. And then you realize that she has that many troll accounts where she just rolls in and out. So, I don't know. I've never gone to other places like to talk shit about Chantal. I just pretty much keep it here and then maybe some other people. Caroline, she got the cat for spite. She might have wanted company too, because she started to realize early he ain't gonna be there as much as she thought. So she shouldn't have any animals. No, she shouldn't. No animal should suffer her. And her defense that, hey, what do you want me to do about it? You're the owner. Who else is supposed to do something about it? Sal? He's too busy playing video games. And she can only go outside probably more like 2 weeks out of the year because it's too hot for Princess, who moved to Kuwait and chose to wear the most conservative garb over her obese frame. She couldn't be any more uncomfortable, probably. And that tickles me, because that's the trade-off. So, this cat is just another BBJ. Unfortunately, it's a bartering tool. It's not something she loves and wants to make arrangements for and look after, she just doesn't care. If the cat's alive when she gets back, she has a cat. If not, she'll get another one and say Julia ran away while we were out. I think she's going to say she gave it to someone to watch, and then when we come back, there won't be a cat, because they had more free time than Chantal does to take care of it. No one has more free time than Chantal except the dead. Just saying. And I'm sure people in Kuwait do go to the vet. I imagine it exists. So, I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll leave that there. Now, she did her fair bit of ranting also. Um, yeah, and she put a sweater on too. And then complains. Like, she makes no effort to even prepare herself. All she does is go out at his command, take a short walk, and then he bribes her with Burger King. That's it. And then he goes home, or to the Red Room, or somewhere else. You can't, you know, if the Emperor looks naked, the Emperor is naked. Just, kind of saying. So, another thing onto her food. Oh no, there's more things incredible about Kuwait. It's not that Kuwait is bad or rough or poor or ugly. She said she's just bad at showing it off. What the hell else is a travel vlog except to show off where you're traveling and make them. And it's not about how many different foods you can drag onto the bed and eat with you. It's more like you leave the hotel. That's how travel works. I mean, that's how, like, I don't know. Do you remember Sophia from the Golden Girls? She was gonna go to Epcot with all the other blue-haired old ladies, and they said, "Don't you want to stay?" They're like, "Oh no, we play cards all the way there on the bus. We check into a hotel, we sleep, we turn around, we go back, and call that a visit." So, I don't know. Everyone stays indoors. What people see with Chantal is not necessarily jealousy, but probably wasted opportunity. I think people would look at her and say, if you had that much money and the ability to travel and could support yourself, why aren't you happier than this? Like, why would you share company with anyone who you're not absolutely thrilled with? And getting a man to be able to say, "Where's your man?" is sad. It's sad. There's plenty of single people I respect a hell of a lot more than Chantal just because she could bed Pinky. So, I'm not... And I don't mean to be judgmental of Salah and his private moments, but I've seen a few, if you can imagine. I was young and wild. So, comparatively, I thought because he was 6'3" with a size 12 shoe that would mean something, but it doesn't always. These things are not always as easy as they may seem. So, shoo. But the whole arc so far, the whole Kuwait arc, has been a wasted opportunity. There's so much more that a excited, interested, capable vlogger could do. I'm sure she looked at other Kuwaiti vloggers to see what's the easiest thing she can replicate. Chantal's not always new on great, private self-thought ideas. She kind of will look at the landscape of what's going on now and then kind of throw something into it to see if she can be controversial in yet another way. Yeah, but I think I feel more like, it's not jealousy people feel, it's more like pity and bemusement and watching someone, it's hard to throw your life away by being so active. I mean, she is able to travel, and that's enviable, I guess, but I wouldn't want to travel 14 hours or 15 hours weighing 100 pounds heavier than now. And again, that's another thing that's a choice that she acts like isn't. Well, I can't help it. God made me fat. No, Burger King made you fat. Poutine made you fat. God was just laughing. So. Or Allah. Excuse me. Whoever the God is this week, considering who we're interested in. If she met a guy that was a born-again Christian, she would, in a hot second, be covered up. Absolutely. And we'd never hear the end of it. We'll see if she's able to travel. I think a vacation's going to be harder than before. Even if she's not heavier, she's so much more sedentary. I mean, she's more sedentary than she was in Canada. And all she did then was, drive around. But at least she got... Hey, Jake. At least she got some fresh air. She wasn't super mobile, but she could drive. She was more independent. I thought Chantal was maybe, when I first started watching 7 years ago, I thought maybe she was a little bit more independent and not so needy for man's attention. And that she would be not very discerning about the man. Who the hell else? Who marries someone they met after 2 weeks, unless you're in Vegas or something like that? And then you grow into love of one another. Arranged marriages, you marry a stranger. But this wasn't an arranged marriage. This was a desperate marriage. Desperate to proof of worth, proof of love. See, I'm not a bad person. I have a man, and he loves me, and you don't know what we do off camera. So, I've never felt compelled to turn on the live stream and start telling everyone that they're jealous of my life, that I don't care, that I hope bad things happen to them. that I hope bad things happen to their kids, that people related to them who've done scummy things. It's my right to spit it all out over there. I don't think she bought 2 tickets. I think she depends on being an inconvenient passenger. And she'll go in and I didn't know they were so small. I wouldn't put it past her to start fake crying and panicking. Like, oh, she just found out she's 3 seats wide. And then the people on the plane, through that manipulation of hers, will try to accommodate her somewhere. Because she's always trying to think disability card. And being obese is not a disability a lot of people have sympathy for. Because it's like, it is have an illness bit to it, so does addiction. But when you are complicit in your own destruction, people aren't that sympathetic to that. They're not, nor should they be. But, I don't know. Bake break. As a former obese, I can breathe. So, I've been obese before, and then underweight, and then obese again, and then underweight. And there was a period when I was just after I came out, I was like 18. And it was like, if I don't have a man, I'm not really gay, if that makes any sense. So I started dating around, and that's when I saw the majority of things that I compared to Sala. I don't keep a spreadsheet exactly, but just memory. Some things stick out and some things don't, unfortunately. So, but so goes. Now, eating we did this week, and she was swapping between having takeout and homemade food. Okay. And she's of the belief that homemade food, because you're in control of the ingredients, is somehow healthier. There's less mystery as to what goes into it. She generally reheats food, or she'll have like snacky things that would go in a lunchbox, like a Capri Sun and stuff like that. She insists that she doesn't really like sweets that much. I can't down 10 juice bags in a day, especially if I were diabetic, and then depend on emergent care for tourists to hit them up every so often because I don't want to see a real doctor. That would confirm the obvious, that I'm sicker than I'm letting on. It's a weird fine line. Like, you want the newbiesers to feel sorry for you, and to feel sorry for you because of all the horrible things these people who've watched her have said. It's not what they've said, it's what they've recorded and showed again. So, did you hear she gets the urge to breastfeed other people's babies? Yeah, right. She's allergic to kids. A child would take the attention away from her. And she wouldn't have that. There's no way. She wouldn't go for it. And like I said, she doesn't seem to want kids. She never seemed to. She didn't have a huge amount of remorse when she got the hysterectomy, beyond she hurt from surgery, I think. And I can appreciate the challenges there. Thanks. These are just readers I got. At this point, I'm just wearing readers to get by. I do need to go to the eye doctor, and I had made an appointment, but other stuff came up that was more important than crystal clear vision. So if I can see a little bit with squinting, we're okay. But that was not this month's spending. We've had a few more expenses come up. She's trying to be a shock jock. But she's just, ugh. Ugh. And it's not that a woman couldn't be a shock jock at all, but she spends, I think, she's watching everybody. And that's been said, and she says she doesn't watch any reaction channels, but people that love and respect her send her nasty things that others have said. She begs in one chat, don't do that to me, I'm trying to liberate it. And then in the next chat, send me everything you've got, I'm gonna get them, blah, blah, blah. And Chantal usually has the same people she biggers with. Yaba. Not so much with Kalari, but still runs her mouth as well. She comments on everything reactors are saying. Of course when she sits there all day, she's not on TikTok, she's on YouTube. And she's waiting to see if she can parlay victimhood out of something somebody said. How can I manipulate this situation to make people feel bad for me? How do I go about that? She knows how to go about that. Every time she walks into the clinic, you know, they're like, oh, you're here again. She's like, oh, was I just here? Ma'am, you've been here every other day trying to score insulin. Do you have a doctor in your home country? Oh, no, I live here. I just leave a lot for work. So her no fast food challenge, do we have to explain why it didn't work? It didn't work. It lasted a day. She was going to lose 330 pounds the fun way, or whatever. And she's still, it's cute because she thinks she's 330 pounds. 330 was as low as she got when she was with Natter doing, and she was visibly thinner. If you guys were following at that point, I know some people are new to the show, but when she was going through the Natter phase with that, she was thinner. She had some loose, not loose skin, but she had the wobble coming out, which is why Ready, Set, Bees was this. She was shaking her arm fat when she would say it, or the loose skin. But that stopped after the partying stopped, or at least certain kinds of partying stopped. She denied up and down that she was doing anything other than maybe weed and alcohol. You find the meth pipe in the ashtray, for guests, of course. What if the guests want meth? We have to keep it around. It would be, you know, a solid. They're keeping around candy bars and snake snacks and fruit roll-ups and all stuff you'd get for, you know, snack time in kindergarten. She ain't 330, not 328, not, yeah, exactly. And she's been the same weight, according to her, for years. She can eat anything she wants, and she won't gain a pound over 330. Not even a little. Not even a little. I don't know. I don't know. There was buying of memberships. She has a friend or a admirer or whatever who was buying some, giving them out. But it's a person, I guess, who is consistently in Chantal's. She doesn't have what you would call friends. She has people who can do things for her, and then when they stop being able to do that, she doesn't know them. Didn't like him, never heard him, don't watch his channel, can't believe it. Nope, it's just haters being rude. I have pretty privilege. I'm ending every sentence with that anymore. Let's see how that goes at work tomorrow. Assuming there's work tomorrow, so. She may have lost weight, the hypoglycemia. Yes, the idea of playing fast and loose with, you know, symptoms, I think, you know. And the one eye? What the hell was that? Oh, it's fine, I just have something in my eye. That's what that looks like. It looked like you had a mini stroke in the pool and your face went dead. All about her being sicker and sicker, not being well. You need a sparkly fan to flip while you're saying how privileged you are. Oh. All right, Jay, you better get on it. Like Karl Lagerfeld, just like sit and fan. First apartment I ever had in Philly, I had no air conditioning, and I didn't even have a fan. The first night there, I assembled my futon practically in the dark, and then fanned myself to sleep. And I'd wake up because it was hot, and start fanning myself again. You know, to be young and broke. If I ate those meals, I'd be in the hospital. You know what, Voodoo, I just think she doesn't care. And not in a sympathetic way. I don't have sympathy for the fact that she is throwing her life away. She doesn't see it now, but she'll see it in a minute. She'll find out. Hopefully not too late. And maybe she can get herself together and have some really good years on Earth after the last couple, 2, 3, 40 have been a little rough. But the common denominator in all of Chantal's drama is her. Drama brings views. If she didn't make a video talking about reaction channels or eating something, what's left? Temu try-on? That's not 20K a month, Temu try-on. And I think the people that like her are getting sick of the bullshit. These are the people who are new. They don't understand that she's been like this, that she just hasn't lied to you yet. We got to see a picture of her foot, Caroline. That nail polish on there is freaking, I don't know. She hasn't gotten a pedicure, I guess, since she's been there. Oh, my sciatica. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I just need to lay down. It's too hot out. I'm too tired. I had a big meal. I was up late doing gaming, some other shit. She probably stays up all night waiting for him to come home, and maybe he does, and maybe he doesn't, and then she sleeps 12 hours, wakes up, and says, I haven't eaten today. Well, you slept through the entire day so far. But she'll often do that. This is my brunch. I guess this is breakfast. No, maybe it should be dinner. I'm not really sure which is which. So she did do some homemade stuff. She had some pasta, the one time with some Brussels sprouts on the side. She had grilled cheese and tomato soup, kind of as an afterthought, and not for nothing, there's a difference between soup and bisque. Because her tomato soup looked like half of it was cream, and cream in tomato soup is delicious, but not necessarily something I would crave in a overly hot country. You know, oh, it's disgusting outside. Who wants soup? We're having hot cocoa with dessert, perhaps. So, hey, Panda, what's up? She returned all the Temu clothing after wearing it. Yeah, she's nasty. You're all right, Panda. You can catch the replay if you feel so inclined. We're just still shooting the shit about Foodie Beauty. Memberships, the grilled cheese. What else do I know? Views come from mukbangs and fighting. Chantal's only interested in her own preservation, which means her money, which comes from views and attention. So she'll sick her teeth into something ridiculous if she thinks it'll get, I don't know how many, 10,000 people, 15,000 people to watch. She never used to be competitive with smaller channels. It would look proportionate. You know, if you have 100,000 subs, you want to be getting like at least 10% of that per video. And she's not, because how many different ways can you complain about being hungry and tired? She's tired constantly. But everyone in Kuwait has a different sleep schedule. Everybody does. They don't do things like we do here. Now, I know in some hot climates, there is like a siesta in the middle of the day when it's too hot to do stuff and people take a break and then everything's open up later. But then she'd be able to go out at night. It wouldn't be hot and she wouldn't be as conspicuous. And they usually do go out at night when they go places. Whether that's for her shame or his, I'm not sure. I don't know if Salah cares enough to even have an opinion at this point. He's getting pushy with her as far as lives go and as far as content goes. He has in his head, I think, that live should be like 2 hours. Or however long they are immediately impacts how profitable they're going to be. And when she wanted to cut a live early, he was like, no, 2 hours. So I guess he believes that. And if you're up 2 hours, there's more opportunity for people to just watch. I mean, if it's monetized before it starts and then you throw in a mid-roll ad every 3 minutes. How greedy. How greedy. She asked in the mukbang, canned Campbell's. Add some more cream, more cheese. She buys a lot of those high-fat things, and, you know, a lot of people who do keto, I see, buy it. You know, I would love to do a keto diet. I would, if it meant that I could eat everything else, too. So essentially, I'm just introducing a lot of meat and animal fat into my diet without removing any of the other stuff I had before. She couldn't do keto. She was adamantly against it, except the one snack time where she was attempting to eat low carb. And she took a plate and she pulled out 1 cup, not 1 serving, 1 cup of cheese, melted it on the plate. Then she had a little guacamole and a little bit of salsa. And she said she'd get a forkful of each and eat it. And that would satisfy her craving. That's more than I'd eat for lunch. Most days. I can't eat all that bacon. I forgot to cut. Yeah. Can't eat all the bacon. I mean, the bread's not for me. It's for Salah. I mean, I guess I have it sometimes. I don't know. Who's rated these? Always some slick, stupid little distraction. It's whatever. As far as the mukbangs go, too, it's beyond just her eating on camera. The pace of her eating seems to be something that she's with. Whether she wants to get the video over quick or whether she's that hungry. She's had a few mukbangs in the last, I'm going to say, at least 2 weeks, where she didn't look happy at all to be eating. You think she's in her glory, but cutting back a bit, calorie deficit, it actually works. The hell you say, Voodoo. The hell. Here's an idea, eat less, you know, and then you have folks come in, no, it's not less, you need different foods, you need this many carbs, you need good proteins, and suck on coconut oil for 2 hours at a clip. I did that coconut oil pulling, I think they call it. I almost spit out a cap. So if you have anything else than your own teeth, don't do the oil pulling, because they'll come out. Just saying. In her live, she weighed herself 343. Do we hear 350? Do we hear 75? People overcomplicate it too much. Weight loss, Roxy? I agree with that. Oh yeah, congrats. 75 is not easy. And if you're doing it a healthful way, and there's a few, but if you're doing it a healthful way, you're probably not dropping 5 pounds a week, because it's just waste muscle and water. Chantal probably has 13 pounds of food stuck in her teeth. So that could be accounting for the weight. Hard to say. Who knows? Yeah. So the homemade food stuff isn't working, and I feel like that's when she gets a little more broke towards payday. We see more home cooking, or we see something like I don't know, chicken fingers made in the air fryer. She calls French fries made in the air fryer roasted potatoes. Slick, real slick. Do we think all the juice is gone by now? Yes, all that juice is gone. She doesn't like to drink water. She used to all the time. She would have water with everything. So if she was going to have a mukbang, or if her and Pete's went to a restaurant, hi, Pete's, I'm sure she's thrilled with you. Go. My doctor approved it, said I'm doing it the right way, 2 to 2.5 a week. That's what most, usually it comes back to sense. Sense over nonsense. And nonsense doesn't need to be given the same respect as sense as though it's validated by anything. Not everyone's entitled to your opinion. If you've got nothing to back it up, then you're just talking. You're just talking. To talk. She lost me at marinating chicken in mayonnaise. Yeah, hey girl, how you doing, Clary? There's some things I've heard, like I've heard of marinating chicken in yogurt, and it's been in recipes that are roughly in that hemisphere, I guess. So there's that, I suppose, but she's going to be moving soon. This is the big ta-da. Everyone's like, she's going to be traveling. When is she traveling? Does she know where she's traveling? Does she know where she's going? Is Sala going with her? Is Sala not going with her? My vape is smooth tobacco. I actually found one that's not, I don't like the fruit flavored ones. I didn't even like Marlboro Smooths when they tasted like Tic Tacs to me, beyond menthol. But in the interest of cutting back a little bit, I switched to vaping. This one is Flare. No sponsors. The smooth tobacco. In Pennsylvania, it's about $14. And one of them lasts me a week. With that, I supplement with maybe a pack of cigarettes. Here, there. Sausage and peppers? That sounds good. Mark! He's outside. When he gets back in, I'll ask him to make it. Morocco bound. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of beautiful women in all parts of the world. Morocco's also known for it. They also have some handsome guys, if you're interested. Big S. So she thinks that as long as her sugar is lower, that it's a green light to do what she wants. There's people I know who take cholesterol medication. They have it, it's high, they take the medication so they can eat what they want. Not ideal, but, I guess we call it harm reduction, I guess. You're not asking them to change, you're just asking them to, take some medicine with it. Sitting down to sausage and peppers as I type. How about that? So where do we think this is going to be coming as we're winding up in the last little bit here? Where do we think she will be? Traveled? Morocco? Will she go radio silent? Will she, let's see, do we think she's going to travel before the 21st, though? That's payday. So, she's broke by payday. I guess it doesn't matter how much you make if you're just bad with money. You just, if I had 20 grand, we'd have a house. I'd put the money down and get the rest of it. Something that I can keep that's mine, that I'll have forever, that I can share if I want to, but I don't have to otherwise. Buying all that food and nothing to show for it is as dumb as us buying all those cigarettes and having nothing to show for it but illness. Not that different. And she's obnoxious, more obnoxious than most smokers I know, too. She'll be on a new couch for a few weeks, eating, yeah. You think she'll have a medical emergency traveling. Oh, that's possible. Again, center of attention. She's going to have a huge friggin' meltdown in the middle of a thing. She's going to delay the flight, have to land somewhere in Saudi Arabia because she took the plane down. I'm managing my weight with diet and exercise as a type 2 diabetic. That's great. People taking care of themselves seems to piss her off. Like if somebody else says, I have diabetes, same as you, and these are the things I do that helped. She doesn't want to hear it. She wants to figure it out her own way. Kind of tailor it to herself. Kind of reinvent my mind. She should sell some Amway and make a little money. But Roman L. Roman was in Morocco. That's true. That's true. Well, she'll find out when she gets there, I guess. She'll be not prepared. Depending on the weather, I mean, it's August in Morocco. I'm not sure. Well, it's August everywhere. but I'm not sure what temperature-wise that's going to look like. I don't think it would matter because she's been so immobile. Even if she's gained or lost weight, she's been so immobile that even if she was 200 pounds, after sitting around for 2 years, everything's going to be hard to do. After COVID, I went for my first jog. I almost died because I hadn't been super active for a while, and the body remembers, but it'll be difficult for her to bring it back in, I think, to where she wants to be. I don't believe that she's necessarily lying about her weight right now at 330. Well, I think it's a little more than 330, but I never thought she was anywhere over 400 by the time she got her biggest. She's 5'1", which, as Dr. Nauzardin would probably say, on a normal-sized woman is probably more like 500 pounds. If Chantal's 5'1" and 400, then if she's 5'2", 5'3", if she was a taller woman, it'd be more. So, hello. It's okay. Hey, Megs. Only 40. She's not 80. She could improve her health. But that's too much work. Somebody else should be doing that. I'm surprised she never went for the gastric bypass because I think in her head, it's an easy way to lose weight. Anyone who's had a bypass or a sleeve knows that's not true. But in her head, people that use other resources or self-discipline are suckers because she believes she's so adored in her current shape that she has absolutely zero reason to change, even for her health. And true enough, if she wants to ignore all her dangerous medical concerns, that's her business. She can do that. But don't use them for content and then say people can't talk about it. People can talk about whatever they want to talk about, as long as they're not being too much of about it with the dishonesty, and always have receipts if you're going to say inflammatory stuff, because then you're backed, that kind of thing. She doesn't because she doesn't want to stop eating. She would go back to drugs. I've seen on programs, I don't have numbers in front of me, folks who are big who get weight loss surgery, and as soon as the weight comes off, they start drinking. My guess, and it hits them faster because there's no food in the stomach and it goes right into the intestine. So it's a little less safe. It's a little more dangerous to kind of do it like that. But yes, she'd go back to drugs because she needs to get to that happy place. Food does it. But if you take the food away and if you surgically alter her body, she'll bust a stitch and probably kill herself within a couple days. Eating is the only thing she likes. If you take it away before she's found anything else, and she hasn't looked for anything else to be satisfying in her life. So, I don't know. I think she'd go back into drugs. Seriously. Yes, great life. She does need serious therapy, but I don't know about involuntary commitment in Kuwait. I suspect because she's in that part of the world and she's a woman, she'd probably have consequences just from being ill, or she wouldn't be viewed as much, that kind of thing. Comfort food recently. Yeah. She needs to feel comfort. Bad. And so the best way to do it is to make enough food for 4 people and eat it all. Look, I used to eat a lot. I get it. Every so often, I do too. But it can't be dismissed or say it's no problem if you're over 200 pounds overweight. If you are a $110, 5'1", and a runner, you could probably eat all the same amount of food in a day. Burn it off because you work more than your thumb. And the weight would fall off. You might find that you want someone who's nicer to you than Sala. You might want a different kind of guy. You might be able to find the looks and the personality, and someone who's just whipped enough for your taste. So keep your eyes open, because Sala certainly is, and look out for yourself. I don't really like Sala, so I don't care if she cheats on him and makes him cry and all that kind of stuff. I don't really care. Who wins when 2 people I don't like fight? Me. That's who wins. And we as the viewer win too. And views mean attention means money, and all of a sudden we're back at the first of the month again. Spending. Travel. Anything to keep the man, buy him some electronics. And he's at least using her for some money, because he's stay online longer. I think now into her time there, she's trying to get in the wind of he treats me like anybody else, which is not nice. I don't think he's kind to her, but she wanted married. She wanted married to a Muslim man. She got it. Don't cry now. Not everything that glitters is gold. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching. We had a bit of a smaller chat today, so it's kind of nice. It's not to trip all over each other. Do feel free to check the replay if you just popped in the middle here. And thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the thumbs up on your way out. You'll get notifications when we have Moo Lives and other stuff going on. Our email, contact info, all of that is below. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Y'all have a great day, have a good week, and Mark should be catching up with you tomorrow, but we're going to give that a maybe, depending on how he's doing. So, that was Mark. You say goodbye, Mark!
Bye, everybody!
Y'all look after yourselves, you hear? Things can change real fast.